Hello and welcome to the EX281 VS Code setup guide for Linux. First off, this guide's been tested on the following Linux distributions. We're currently only Debian Bookworm 12.8.0, so that's what I'm going to use for this guide. If you're having issues with your distribution, please feel free to reach out on the class discussion board and we'll get it working. Okay, so the first step is to install VS Code. Since I'm on a Debian distribution, the easiest way to install it is with the .deb package. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. Then I'm going to open terminal. And then I'm going to just install it with apt. Type in my password and we'll get going here. Once it's finished installing, I'm going to go back and then install dependencies. We have 5 packages here. They'll have some dependencies, but it'll all get taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and hit yes on this, and it's going to install all the dependencies. Okay, now on to configuring VS Code. Now, because this was created for EX281 students, please do not contact EX280 staff for support with this tutorial. We're going to skip to setting up extensions. I'm going to go over here to Microsoft C++ extension. I'm going to open up VS Code with the code command. Then I'm going to snap this to the right just so I can see it. Go to extensions, C/C++, install it. You do not need this extension pack. Now I'm going to create a project. So I'm going to go into terminal. And for our tutorial, we're going to be using P0-statistics and EX281 because that's what we're going to be working on next. So statistics, create that folder, then change directory into that folder, then go to the P0 spec, then go to the hamburger menu, starter and sample files, right click, copy link, then wget that link, paste, then extract the directory, then remove the old tarball, then move all the files into the main directory, then remove the extra folder. So now if we look at our files, we have everything we need. We can open VS Code in this folder by doing code dot. Before I do that, I'm going to close this old window. And I'll trust the authors. You're going to need to trust us if you want to grade in the class. Now we can open up our own VS Code window. You can do the keybind, like in this case, control backtick. I'm going to make these files a little smaller. Then we can ignore all the WSL stuff. We can ignore all the sample file stuff. Ignore add starter files. We already did that. For renaming files, you can right click, rename, just do whatever you want. You can also rename using the terminal. You can make new files with this button. You can make new folders with this button. What you'll mainly be doing though is compiling with the makefile. We have a full makefile tutorial, but in this case, I'll just show, for example, make debug to make the debug executable, make release to make the full speed executable, make clean to clear all those files, etc. Now debugging, we're going to boot up a debugger. Click run and debug, create a launch.json file, C++, then gdb launch. Now, unfortunately, the defaults generated by this program are not too great, so we're going to go ahead and modify them. In this case, we're going to modify the program and CWD entries. I'm going to close this window by clicking on the run and debug just because get it out of our way. Now I'm going to modify program, basically just removing this sample text. You'll see there, and then instead of a.out, we're going to want our debug executable. So if you run make debug, and this will require you to have your make file set up. In this case, we see it's project0_debug. So I'm going to put that here. Okay, then CWD, instead of file dir name, we're going to do the same workspace folder. Then save that. Then we're going to go ahead and launch the debugger. Before we do that, make sure you always recompile if you've made any changes before you launch the debugger. So make debug. Then if I click the play button, it's going to launch the debugger. It's going to go through. If we go back to terminal, we can see the output here, error no mode specified. This leak sanitizer stuff is kind of annoying. We can go ahead and disable it. Under configure debugger, if you go to environment here, copy this, then replace this environment with it, and that will give you, it'll get rid of a lot of that messy output. So if I run the debugger again, you'll see it's just no mode specified and then a little bit of extra stuff. Now, if we actually want to do command line arguments, which will be important for that class, you're going to want to modify this args variable. One word per argument. So there's no mode, and then, so like mode's an option for project 0. You don't want to do like this, where it's one string with a space. Anytime you see a space, that's a key indicator that you're doing it wrong. Anytime there's a space, you should instead split those into separate strings. So for example, like this. This will do the reserve mode. Then if you want to put on another command line argument, you can just do that here. Additionally, you're going to want to use input and output redirection for this class. That's how we get our sample data. So for example, sample_n.txt, we're going to want to read that with our file, with our code. So we're going to do this less than symbol as an argument, and then the file name. So sample_n.txt, for example. Then if you want to save your output to a file, you'll do a greater than symbol, and then like project 0 output.txt. And that will save your output to project 0-output.txt. An important thing for debugging, make sure your type is CPP debug. That's what it should be. Now that we have all of this detail, we can go ahead and run the debugger. So to be sure, I'm just going to run make debug. Then I'm going to run the play button, and we'll see error invalid option. So let's go investigate why that is. We go into project 0.cpp. Whenever something like this pops up, you can see if it sort of makes sense. For example, we don't want the extension pack, so I'm going to go don't show again for this extension, but I will allow extension recommendations. Let's look at where error invalid option is. So in this case, it's right here on this line. And the reason why it's showing up is actually because we haven't implemented the command line options for project 0. And I'm not going to do a project 0 tutorial here. We have a separate video for that, but I will demonstrate how to use the debugger. So what we're going to do is click here next to this line 95 to add a breakpoint. And if you've never used a visual debugger before, or a debugger in general, basically right before this line 95 is executed, since I have a breakpoint, the debugger will stop my program, and it'll let me inspect the state of my program. I can look at the values of different variables, a bunch of cool stuff like that. And then when I'm done, I can resume the program's execution. So I haven't changed anything, so I'm not going to recompile. I click start debugging, and then you can see it's paused here. We can see that, for example, choice is 63. That's a variable up here. Index is 0, argc is 4. And then options, we can see that right now our mode is no mode because it hasn't been set yet. Now, there's a couple tools you can use in the debugger. So there's this button called step over, which will advance like one line basically. There's step into and step out. Those step in and step out are for function calls. Now there's actually no function calls that occur in our program right now that we can reach. So I'm just going to go ahead and add one right here. I'm going to call print help and put that here. You're going to want to remove this before turning in project 0. I'm going to recompile since I changed my code. Then I'm going to click the play button again. And I'm going to put a breakpoint before print help. So you'll see if I do step over, it'll print help, and you'll see it's not actually in my terminal. That's because we did output redirection. So it's actually going to go to project 0-output. But I want to inspect print help itself. I don't want to just step over it. So I'm going to restart the program. Then instead of stepping over print help, I'm going to step into print help. And it'll actually go inside this function, and I can look in here. Then when I'm done, I'm going to press step out. I have another button I can use, continue, which will either run until the next breakpoint is hit or run until the program terminates. In this case, there's no more breakpoints, so if I click it, it's going to terminate. But for example, if I put a breakpoint on choice, it'll stop there. If I click continue, it'll stop on print help. The rest of this guide is for troubleshooting. I won't be covering that in this video, but If you're having trouble and the troubleshooting steps don't help you, please feel free to reach out. Please do not use the YouTube comment section. Please use the Ed discussion board.